I made it back! And, ha! Finally found my frickin' shovel. What a relief. I have burrs all over me. So, the next thing I'm gonna do is go grab the trash can that's been in the way of the stairs over there. Pick some of the burrs out of my wool sweater. Burr, 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 burr. Into the fire pit because I don't want them to grow. They are seeds. Burrs are seeds. Did you know burrs are seeds? Burrs are seeds. So if you just pick them out and throw them down, they're gonna grow. So I'm picking them out of my sweater and throwing them right in the fire pit. Okay. Next, I decided that if I just don't use that biodegradable plastic in my compost again, the kind that the bag of kitty litter comes in, if I just don't use that, then, oh, nom nom. It didn't come off properly, so it wasn't really ripe. I just looked at it. And tie it to the support post, then I probably shouldn't have the same problem of it collapsing again, even though this side's all tore up. If I can find a piece of scrap metal to slide alongside there, great, we'll do that for support. But I think just tying some cordage through there, and this is a good one-handed job, like this is no big deal, and around the pole of the porch will allow me mushrooms, will allow me to goodness, this is not comfortable to do one-handed for this amount of time. Ouch. It's pinching my fingers. It hurts. Will allow me to more easily deal with my compost in the wintertime, which is coming. Oh, look, there's more of them over here. The soil's really healthy. I'm very happy with that part of things. Lots of mushrooms means lots of healthy soil. Whew. Alright, youch. Didn't cut my finger. So my thing is, I'm going to tie a rope through here and around that pole, and then I'll have my compost right up against the house. And I do think that if I can keep this more contained, which is going to involve the fencing, if I can keep this more contained, I think it'll compost better. And I'm probably going to have to frequently add a whole bunch of wood chips to it, which is perfect because that helps things keep moving. And then occasionally I'm going to have to dig out from underneath the rooster hutch here. Huh, Dooster? Is that you, Dooster, or is that Roosty Roo? I don't know. Are you going to have a whole bunch of golden babies? They're in the incubator. So yeah, this terrible mess definitely could be dealt with better. And that's what I'd really like to do, is to get it like in a hoop of fencing and like shovel it in basically, so that it's not just being kicked all over by the creatures every night and looking like a pile of trash, because I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that part. A lot of the plants that I thought I would dig up and repot this year, I just never got to it, which is kind of a shame, but it's also kind of like, okay, it happens. I am kind of curious how well all of these plants are going to go, how much more I might need to mulch them. I want to get potted plants sunk in around, so I'm afraid to put any more mulch down than I already have. But I do think the Myoga needs even more of a heap, because that's what they showed they showed mulching in even the crown, like that flat disc that was where the stalk broke off. That's where Edible Acres showed even mulching that under, which I was a little concerned to do because I thought it might rot, but apparently that's not a problem. Back in here we have another chipmunk. I did start filling the holes back with pots of wood chips, just like one of my friends that who I thought it was claims it wasn't them, so I don't know who then, I guess, suggested that I do. So that's going well. That's holding that spot open for when I'm ready to transplant some things up. And I do have 2 more seed-grown wild Saskatoons ready to put in little pots. But I do not dig this time of year, because this time of year, if I dig and put new things in that don't get piled with mulch, like, you know, at least 4 inches thick, which I think I need to actually pile these up more, then the freeze-thaw cycles shove it up out of the earth over the winter. And then the root itself will freeze solid. So that's one of the reasons that fall planting is a little bit risky in zone 6. I transplanted 12 of my rhubarb years ago, maybe close to 20, and only 10 of them took. No, only, but that's like, no, it was more like 7. And then I've had a couple more break off and transplant, because sometimes when you pick rhubarb, it looks ripe, and then like half the freaking root comes out. And then you just plant that somewhere else. That's my advice. If you have part of the plant come out of the ground, just create another plant. It's fun. But if I were to plant new plants in loose soil right now, then the winter would just shove them up out of the ground, is what it would do. And then everything would freeze solid. Oh, so there we have it. I have 7 new trees planted. I retained 2 tree surrounds, so I could plant a couple more out soon. I think I'll hold on to those for spring and get a couple more bare root plants in spring, because I do have these cages around a bunch of things. Although I could use the taller one and protect this pawpaw that only just has a couple of conjoined tomato cages around it, in a place where the deer could certainly just stick their face in and eat it. Pawpaw trunks are apparently an herbivore delicacy, I found out recently. Just based on personal experience. I don't know if everyone's run into that or not. Yeah, I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do about my water lily situation in the bucket here, but I will figure it out. I'm probably going to end up doing like some sort of indoor pond if I can avoid any mosquito larvae, because I really don't want them hatching inside. That would suck. I do have dunks now, that microbial solution. And these are rutabaga that I compost heaped in right before I planted my sea kale, which is a perennial hardy type of kale. I'd love to get sea beets, the perennial beets. And I really, really want to get Good King Henry, the winter hardy perennial spinach. Perennial foods are my favorites. And then I just plant beans and things in between so that I'm fixing nitrogen and getting food at the same time. That's the dealio here. I don't have much else to show you right now, I don't think. I'm gonna figure out where I'm getting some string or wire or something, and gonna wire that to that post right where it used to be. It's gonna somewhat obscure my gnome home, so I might move my gnome home. I have the pieces and parts to connect this to the downspout, so that's good. But then the other thing I need to do is get some of this piping. And if I can't get enough, because I don't know if the burrow's ever going to come back. It took them like 8 months to do it in the first place. If I can't get enough piping, then I'm actually, or even if I can, I'm actually thinking about using sledgehammer and a chisel, like big cement chisel, and chonking out a piece right here, and then putting like a grid over it so that when this overflows, it can redirect here. I would then have to etch out like a catch basin, but that would allow this overflow to feed this area instead. And I like that idea. It then, when it would backflow, would just go back to the sidewalk and down to the street instead of into my foundation. The sidewalk is tilted this way. I really wish it was tilted that way. And I do not feel like repouring cement. The one time I tried to top this off with some cement, it just chips off eventually. Like, it doesn't work. So unless I can get in here and prop these up, in which case there's just going to be a void underneath and it'll soak in anyway. So I don't know. There's the sky. Thank you for visiting the cliffside. This has been Permaculture.